Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hey everyone, my name is Zahra Noer Audyta, and here I would like to explain about semiotics for the semiotics course. So, the first material we'll be talking about the first material will be talking about the definition of semiotics. Semiotics, also called semiotic studies, is the systematic study of sign process or semiosis and meaning making. Semiosis is any activity, conduct, or process that involves signs, where a sign is defined as anything that communicates something, usually called a meaning to the sign's interpreter. The meaning can be intentional, such as a word uttered with a specific meaning, or unintentional, such as a symptom being a sign of a particular medical condition. Signs can also communicate feelings, which are usually not considered meanings and may communicate internally through truth itself or through any of the sense. For example, visual, auditory, tactical, olfactory, or gustatory or taste. Contemporary semiotics is a branch of science that studies meaning making and various types of knowledge. The semiotic tradition explores the study of signs and symbols as a significant part of communications. Unlike linguistics, semiotics also studies non-linguistic sign systems. Semiotics includes the study of sign and sign process, indication, designation, likeness, analogy, allegory, metonymy, metaphor, symbolism, signification, and communication. Semiotics was defined by one of its founders, the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure, as the study of the life of signs within society. Although the word was used in this sense in the 17th century by the English philosopher John Locke, the idea of semiotics as an interdisciplinary field of study emerged only in the late 19th and the early 20th centuries with the independent work of Saussure and of the American philosopher Charles Sanders Peirce. A person who studies or practices semiotics is a semiotican. Many terms of concepts used by contemporary semioticians were introduced by the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure at 1897 to 1913. Saussure defined a sign as any motion, gesture, image, pattern, or event that convey meaning. He defined language as the structure or grammar of a language and parole as the choice made by the speaker to communicate that information. Saussure treated language as a science system, and his work in linguistics supplied the concepts and method that semioticians applied to science systems other than language. One such basic semiotic concept is Saussure's distinction between the two inseparable components of a sign, which is the signifier, which in language is a set of speech sounds or mark on a page, and the signified, which is the concept of idea behind the sign. The next material is basic concept of semiotics. The basic concepts of semiotics initiated by Ferdinand de Saussure include the first one is sign, and the second one is code, and the third one is meaning. Sign. According to Saussure, this sign is divided into three components, namely, the first is sign. It is include material aspects in the form of sounds, letters, image, motions, and shapes. The second one is signifier, which is includes the material aspects of language, namely what is said or heard, and what was written or read. The third one is signified. It includes the mental aspects of language, namely mental image, thoughts, and concepts. These three components must have a complete existence. If one of the components is missing, then the sign cannot be talked about or even imagined in the human mind. So, the signifying is a concept that will be presented by the signifier. The relationship between the signified and the dissignified must be related to one another in order to produce meaning of for the sign. An example in the word curtain, which is also a sign because it has a signifier, which is the word itself, and signifying in the form of a cloth to cover the window. It is the unity between the words and reality that makes curtain a sign. The next one is code. Code is also included in the things studied in semiotics. The code is a socially agreed way of combining signs to enable the message to be conveyed to certain people. According to Barthes, there are five kinds of codes in semiotics. They are the first one is hermeneutic code, the second one is semantics code, the third one is symbolic code, the fourth one is narrative code or proieretic, and the last one is code of culture or cultural. The last one is meaning. When discussing meaning, there are two kinds of meaning, namely denotative meaning and connotative meaning. The denotative meaning is the true meaning, including the things indicated by the words or the explicit relationship between signs and reference. For example, if there is a human image, it means that the meaning is indeed related to humans as living beings. Then the connotative meaning is the meaning that is not real, including feelings, emotion, cultural values to the point of view of a group. For example, a picture of a smiling face can be interpreted into two meanings, namely an expression of happiness or an expression of humiliation. The next material I will tell you about figures of semiotics. There are three important figures of semiotics. The first one is Ferdinand de Saussure. Ferdinand de Saussure is known as the father of modern semiotics, who defines the relationship between the signifier and the signified based on a convention called significancy. According to Saussure, semiotics is the study of signs in social life and the laws that govern them. He emphasized that the sign has a certain meaning because it is strongly influenced by the role of language. The second one is Charles Sanders Peirce. According to Peirce, signs in semiotics will always be related to logic, especially human logic, to reason about the signs that appear around them. Peirce divides signs into three things, namely icons, index, and symbols. And the last one is Roland Barthes. Barthes is also included in the ranks of major figures in the world of semiotics. According to him, semiotics is a science that is used to interpret a sign, in which language is also an arrangement of signs that have a certain message from society. Signs here can also be in the form of songs, dialogue, musical notes, logos, pictures, facial expression, or even gesture. He sparked a sign significance analysis model into two stages of, or usually called the two orders of signification, then divide it back into the denotation and connotation. The last one I will be talking, the last one is the conclusion. Semiotics can help us to understand why certain signs are interpreted differently in different cultures and different geographies. For instance, the American OK hand sign may be considered rude in Brazil, while the concept of mobile home is understood differently in the United Kingdom. Therefore, Semiotics emphasize the importance of providing appropriate social and cultural context for a communicant so that the message does not get lost in translation. It is also helps people to think deeply about the meaning that is attached to colors, image, sounds, and events, and to consider how perceptions may have been predetermined by people and other external factors. I think that's enough from me. Thank you for your attention, and I'm sorry if there are some mistakes. And I hope you can get helpful knowledge from this presentation. Wabillahi taufik wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.